And welcome to episode 16 of Ctrl Alt Deplete, attempt number 3.
This is a lucky number.
Having a few audio difficulties. Everything seems to be working right now. Fingers crossed. I am your host, Buckblind, and on the other side of the screen, Mr. Bioshock.
What up?
Okay, well, let's jump right into it before audio starts screwing up on me. All right, so it is Fortified Week this week. So our affix for Mythic
week.
Plus, it's not too bad. We have Fortified, Bursting, Explosive, and Thundering. Explosive's a little annoying, but hey, it's the last time we're gonna have it for a while, so that's good. Thundering, we just have 2 more weeks of. But yeah, Fortified, Bursting, Explosive, Thundering. We have 1 more week left of Mythic Plus for this season. It would be Tyrannical. I don't know what the other affixes are, but we'll go over those next week. We also have the Big Battle Bear with Twitch Prime promo is still going on. You have 7 more days. It ends on the 27th.
Get it done.
So,
it takes 2 minutes.
Yep. Super easy to get that pet.
Yeah.
Speaking of time frames, we have season 1 ending May 2nd. That is coming up.
And 10.1 launches May 2nd. The season starts on May 9th, so a week later.
That is true. And we did a few days ago. Blizzard released the Opening the Way cinematic for the season 2, the 10.1 launch, which is pretty good. I liked it. I think you said you watched that, right? You froze. All right, and he's back.
Yeah.
We are having some technical difficulties tonight. That's okay.
Tired of this computer freezing. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why. I don't have WoW open. I don't have Twitch open.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe too many browser pages open up.
Maybe so.
But anyway, let's keep moving on before we have more issues. We have the Opening the Way cinematic. Is what I was saying. 10 point. That is went over the 10.1 stuff. It was pretty good. I liked it. You had a chance to watch that, right?
Yep.
All right. Awesome.
So the season ends May 2nd. Patch starts May 2nd, but the season will start for another week after, so May 9th.
Correct. Yep.
So
season 2.
You can get all the new content, get that new zone in, see what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing that Blizzard did do this week was they released the raid schedule. So we now know, which we already knew, normal, heroic, and mythic were all opening up week 1 right off the bat, launch night, May 9th. As soon as Season 2 starts, that's all available. They also they are releasing the first wing of Raid Finder that night. However, it's just the first wing, so it's still going to be following it every 2 weeks. They're going to release another wing. I honestly don't know why they're still doing that. It makes more sense to me. Just go ahead and release it all at once. But this is what they've chosen to do. They have also said that they haven't given a specific timeline, which they really, really should. But as of right now, the official word is that the Inspiration Catalyst, or whatever it's called, the Catalyst to turn pieces into tier, will be available at a later date. That's all they've said, which is exactly what they said last time, and we'll see. Maybe they'll make it faster, maybe they won't, probably not. But it is what it is. And you want to go over the new, the next thing there?
The Scorpion?
Yes.
Yes, so if you keep up with the Traveler's Log, you get, they give you a whole bunch of stuff you can pay the trader tokens with or whatever for, like, like appearances and pets and stuff like that. But if we keep up with it, you have one big reward, which you get 1,000 of these points. And the next month is going to be the Fell Crystal Scorpion. It's like the Scorpion model from like the mount from Siege of Orgrimmar, kind of.
Yep.
Except for it's green.
Yeah, I actually really like the way it looks.
Me too. It's good.
You know what? I would take that for a Mythic Plus season mount. over what we've got.
To be fair, next season's KSM mount looks better than the first season.
It does. I still would take the Scorpion over that. I don't know. The Scorpion just looks cool. The Kodo just looks derpy still to me. The color looks better, but it still just looks derpy. Also, I just want to clarify, we don't know for sure that it is next month's trading post. They just said that it is a future trading post reward. So, it's going to happen some point during this patch. They just don't know exactly which month, but most likely it's going to be... It may not be in the next month, because next month will still technically be this patch when next month starts officially by 1 day. So I don't know. It may not be till June, but I would say it'll probably be either May or June, be my guess. Either way, it is coming to the trading post, so that'll be awesome. I like it a lot, actually. I like that mount.
Me too.
I think it looks cool. And this is on Twitter. Mike Ibarra, which is the president of Blizzard, I believe, he said that there is a BlizzCon update coming soon. That's all the information on it. So, who knows? Hopefully we'll get some dates announced as to when they're going to do it. I would assume it's still going to be, end of October, beginning of November, like it always has been, but who knows? He said it will look a little bit different since COVID and everything. It'll the way they run things will be a little bit different than it has in the past. Also, I'm assuming there won't be a Cosby suite.
A what?
If you don't know, that's probably all the better.
I really want to go to a BlizzCon. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yes, BlizzCon would be a lot of fun as well. I definitely would love to go to one sometime, but I don't know if it'll happen with it being out in California. It's a long way away for me to go.
Yeah.
Also, and I know you and I talked about this the other day, I think when I noticed it, but they have made a change to the loot trading time. So like right now, when you get a piece of gear, whether it's in raid, dungeon, whatever, you have 2 hours that you can trade. Now, one thing that I saw with this last Race for World First was during all their heroic splits and such, they would give all the loot to one person, and then that person would log out immediately. And then later on, they would track what loot dropped and everything, and they would figure out who was going to get what after they finish all their runs. And then those characters that had all the loot on them would log back in, and then they would go through distributing all the loot and stuff. Blizzard obviously also saw that. I don't know if Blizzard wasn't aware of it or what. I don't know why they decided to go with this change. Personally, I don't have any problem with it. However, the Race for World First guilds probably not going to like it. So the time change, instead of being 2 hours, you have 4 hours to trade the loot. However, and this is the key part, before, if you had 2 hours if you get the loot, you have 2 hours. You log out for 10 hours, 2 days, whatever, doesn't matter. You log back in, you got 2 hours to trade that loot. Now, even though you have 4 hours, you log out, that clock is still ticking. You have 4 hours from the time that loot drops to when to get it traded. So you won't be able to give it to one person and have them just log out.
Yeah, do you think this is going to impact how people do their mythic or their heroic splits now?
I think it's going to mean that they are going to have to take more risks, because the whole reason that they would give all their loot out is, let's say, so think of it this way: you don't know how many pieces of, say, paladin tier pieces you're gonna get. So let's say you're debating between bringing a paladin and bringing a hunter. And I don't know if those two share a tier. I don't know. Let's say for this example, they do not share a tier piece. So let's say your paladin, let's say you get 3 pieces, or you get a paladin piece and a hunter piece drop on the first boss that has tier. What you would do ordinarily is, again, send that over to one person, and then finish out the whole raid, do your entire split, figure out what you have, and see, oh look, we had a second paladin tier piece drop, and no hunter piece drop. So let's give this piece along with all this other pieces of gear. Or actually, here's a better example. Let's say it's monk and demon hunter. Let's say your monk, you have 2 pieces of demon hunter gear and 1 piece of monk tier piece. What you would do is say, all right, we have 2 demon hunter tier pieces, so we have a 2 set there, and we have only 1 piece for the monk, and we have 5 other pieces of leather gear. So those 5 pieces of leather gear, you're going to give them to the demon hunter because that's the one who has a tier set, and you're going to take the demon hunter as part of your mythic progress group. What it means now is if it's going to take you more than 4 hours to finish that heroic split, you're going to have to make that decision without knowing. Let's say you get those 2 pieces of tier, and then you get 3 bosses down, you have 3 bosses left, but it's almost 4 hours. You have to make that decision, and you don't know what those last 3 bosses are going to drop. So now you say, well, we're going to give it to the demon hunter, and then you go to the last 3 bosses. Monk gets 2 more pieces of tier. Demon hunter already has the gear, can't trade it. So now what do you do? So that's where it's going to kind of come out as you may have to make those decisions a lot. Well, you're going to have to make those decisions a lot faster than they had been. So I think that's where it's going to come into play. And I am curious to watch this Race for World first and see exactly how it impacts it. Because I don't know, the way I loved all that kind of behind the scenes stuff. Seeing the stuff we hadn't seen before. That's what I really enjoyed about this first Race for World first.
Yeah.
So this change is definitely going to have a huge impact on that. Outside of the Race for World first, I really don't think this change makes any difference.
Right.
Most groups, at least I know my raid group, most of the time, whenever we're raiding, you get a piece of loot. If you want to trade it, you trade it right then and there. Otherwise, it's whatever. I know there are probably some more hardcore groups that maybe they try to wait and divvy out specifically who they want to give it. This will actually probably benefit them because now you can. Most raid groups probably are not raiding more than 3 to 4 hours a night. So if it's a 4-hour window, you pretty much are going to have until the end of the raid to figure out who you're going to give it to. So I don't think it'll affect anybody outside of the Race for World first. I think that's where you're going to see the big impact. So I don't really I don't think on a majority scale, it's not that big of an issue. It's probably a good change, honestly.
Right.
I think one other thing that I did notice them mention was admit that you wouldn't. Let's say you raid on multiple characters. You wouldn't hold on to that piece of loot and not equip it. You wouldn't have to. Before, what was happening was they would get the piece of gear and they would log out and wait and see what you got in your weekly vault before deciding whether or not you're going to trade that to somebody. Which is weird because then like you can't log back into that character for the rest of the week. That would drive me nuts. But I don't think that's something we're going to see happen too often anymore. And with this change, definitely won't see that happen. So I think it's a good change overall. I think it could make the Race World first more interesting as well.
Oh, for sure, I agree. I'm curious to see how it plays out for sure.
Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead and take us on point J.
So, for people that are hyped for Diablo, or not, like me, you still get something in WoW when Diablo's crossover event comes out. So there's a couple things that you can get, like a little weapon, that's like I don't know if it's a weapon, but it's like a wooden peg leg or something. I'm not sure exactly if it's. Let me check here. Yeah, it's a one-headed mace or two-headed mace, depending on which one you're using.
So yeah, it looks like a torch almost.
Yeah, the reason I know it's a leg is because it says it in the tooltip. It's Rit's last leg or whatever.
True, yeah.
But some other things you can get is like this little like treasure napping bag, which is like a cosmetic that goes where your cape would go. And it's basically just like a bag that's like filled with loot and has a sword going through it. It's just like a cosmetic thing to like go with like the event that's going on.
It does actually look cool. I like the way it looks.
Me too. I think it looks cool. Also, you can get a 36 slot bag.
Nice. I love that.
And it is unique, so you can only get one, obviously. But it says requires level 10, so I'm assuming you can get it on like a lot of your tunes if you're heavy into tunes like I am. A couple more things you can get is the achievement, Little Lord of Lies. You can get a little pet, and there's a charm, which is interesting because it increases your intellect as long as it's in your bag. So I don't know if I'm assuming that's just going to be around for the event, not forever.
Yeah, I would guess
I
so.
because 100 intellects like
That's
a good
that's
amount.
good. That's an extra piece of gear almost.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's this unique, which players can keep in their inventory for a small buff. And yeah, the little pet is that red horn demon thing looking thing. It looks alright.
So I
Yeah,
was
go
just
on.
gonna point out, you mentioned how mages are in a bad spot for this upcoming season, and the only thing they might bring would be their intellect buff. But if you have this large charm, you don't even need them for that.
Yeah.
So maybe the charm is permanent. It's just Blizzard's way of getting rid of mages.
Yeah, mages are in a rough spot. If you don't know, now you know. Yeah, so it's a little off topic, but their tier set's not looking good. Their scaling's not looking good. Like nothing looks good for any of the 3 specs. I'm sure they'll get played, but as far as compared to other classes, they're bottom of the barrel right now.
Yeah. Continue with what you were saying.
They're increasing experience gain by 50% and reputation by 8% during this event. So
Yes.
if they're gonna level something, level it then.
Well, no. So that is not. I don't know why they didn't put the dates on here, because that does not start at that event. The same time. It is. I remember seeing. I saw a post the other day about the start time of that event. That start time for the experience gain event, I don't believe.
It says right here that it's during the event.
Yeah, I know they posted it, and it could have been updated. I know it was a couple days before this. I think they said that was supposed to start like on June 5th or something, but they might have changed that, which hopefully they did, because that would be awesome. But yes, yeah, you get a 50% experience gain, which that is going to be, that will happen during the first week of the month. So we're gonna have Dark Moon Fair, and we're gonna have.
We're looking at a 3-hour run for you.
Yeah, we're looking at a 50% buff from that. We're looking at a 30% buff between War Mode, XP Drots, and the Dark Moon Fair buff. It will have, once you hit. So from 10 to 20, you're gonna have essentially a 70% XP buff, and then from 20 to 50, and then for another hour after that, you're gonna have 80% XP buff, and then you're gonna be back down to 70% for the 50 to 70. Which is amazing. I am definitely looking forward to that event. Normally, we don't get that big 50% buff till the end of the expansion, and I am looking so much forward to having an opportunity to get a 5-hour, 5.5, 6-hour speed run with that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm happy with that.
Yes. So this next part is, if you don't know about it, you're about to find out. Upcoming player health and enemy damage increased by 25%. Why? Why, Blizzard? I don't understand that. I just feel like, what's the point of increasing health to increase damage?
Yeah. 25%? So I'm gonna read what Blizzard posted. So right here, Blizzard said, "We have decided to increase both player stamina and enemy damage by 25% for this upcoming season. This is very much like an adjustment that was made just before the launch of Dragonflight, and it's for the same reasons. When damage mitigation abilities and healing are too strong relative to player health, the only way to threaten players is to make enemy damage very high and spiky. If healers can very quickly top off their teammates and mana isn't a limiting factor, Enemies have to be tuned to have the capacity to do burst damage that kills players before healers can react. That isn't very satisfying gameplay. Increasing player health and tuning an enemy ability damage appropriately gives players more time to react to incoming damage, and it makes players' choices about cooldowns and mana management more meaningful. Which, if it was just that, I mean, it seems like it's not really making that big of a difference to change this stuff.
Yeah.
But I can kind of understand them thinking that this is going to equal more stuff to heal for healers, because that's their whole argument.
Yeah.
It is a lot of this does feel to me like it's a knee-jerk reaction to the whole in the MDI you had a dungeon or two where they had 4 DPS and no healer.
Yeah.
That's such an outlier. It literally is not something that is happening all the time. It's one dungeon that it was happening in because most of the damage is avoidable, and your group has to be one of the top groups in the world to pull it off. Now, they also said, along with this is the part where I don't agree with as well. Along with this change, you'll see several adjustments to hybrid healing spells, items, and enchants, as well as percentage-based healing spells. And they said, along with adjusting creature damage and player stamina, we're adjusting healing done by several talents. For tanks, our goal is to keep their relative strength comparable to 10.0.7. And for damage dealers, we're adjusting active healing spells to be more powerful so that they retain their impact when solo or supporting a group. Now, the issue I have with that is if the whole point is to give healers more to do because you think healers are overpowered, then why are you increasing self-healing? Because that literally is going to mean nothing is changing. You're just, to me, this feels like they're just buffing all the numbers, but nothing is actually changing. They're saying, hey, they're going to hit this much harder, but you have this much health and you do this much more self-healing. So it's nothing's changing except you're going to have larger numbers. That instead of doing that, I don't understand why they didn't just do a nerf to healing percentage. Like, I don't know, like nerf the amount of healing, which that's the other argument I've seen though, is that a lot of people seem to feel like this is unnecessary anyway, that healers were not too strong. So I don't know, the whole thing seems very odd and very weird. It seems like they're making 25 different adjustments to fix a non-existent problem. And it also, to me, it also seems like the adjustments they're making aren't gonna fix the problem that they claim is there. But that's I don't know. Maybe it somehow is, and I'm just not seeing it. But almost every class that has self-healing abilities got those self-healing buffed.
Yeah.
So to match whatever either match or make them even stronger. Some of them even stronger, like the Druid, Regrowth, and Swiftmend, and Rejuvenate. Well, Regrowth and Swiftmend are both increased by 50% instead of 25%. So I don't know. It feels weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked a lot about this already off of this, before we recorded and stuff, but it doesn't make sense to me what the change is. My other issues with their very first statement. They said this is very much like an adjustment that was made just before the launch of Dragonflight and is for the same reasons. Which is true. They made this adjustment before Dragonflight, and they also nerfed the damage reduction that tanks could do. And then for the first 8 weeks of the expansion, they kept having to nerf the damage that the enemies were doing because they were hitting too hard. Like, I don't. It seems like they're gonna make this change, and they're doing just like they did at the start of the expansion. We're gonna make this change, and then we're gonna watch over the first 6, 7, 8 weeks of the next season as they go and basically nerf everything, reverting all of these changes. So I don't know. It feels like it's a very strange way of doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out though.
I'm curious. I would curious to get a healer's perspective on it, because obviously neither you or we don't heal. I know from a tanking perspective, I mean, I'm looking at the changes that they're giving me as a demon hunter for vengeance, and I love the buffs. It's gonna be nice. I don't think that they're necessary. I don't see any of it being necessary.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like if the goal was healers didn't have to heal, why are you increasing self healing? Because there's still not. There's. I'll say it right now. I'm calling it right now. Healers are still not going to have to do any healing. If you're a healer and you didn't have to do any healing during season 1, you're still not going to have to do any healing during season 2. Now, I think that the amount of healers that are going to face that issue are very few and far between, and they're the ones that are running with a consistent group all the time, who is a very skilled group that is very good at avoiding damage. Most of the groups that you and I have been in, that's not the case. Your healer's going to have to heal.
Yeah.
I know me. I stand in everything because I'm a tank and I don't care. I always look at avoidable damage afterwards, and I always have like either the most or the second most avoidable damage. It's because I can tank it. I can heal myself, and if I'm in the middle of something, I'm not going to move out of it. The healer doesn't have to heal me. I can heal myself, and again, that's not changing. I guess that's my biggest thing is like I look at the buffs and I'm like, that's cool buffs, but in reality, it's not changing anything. It's going to be the same as it was in season 1, and that's why I don't understand it. It feels like all they are doing is buffing the numbers, but the actual effect is 0. There's no change. There's no change in what we're experiencing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys have thoughts, if there are any healers that are watching, feel free to comment on this in the comments on the YouTube and stuff, and give us a healer's perspective. Tell us, have you had issues healing? Have you had to struggle at times healing, or has healing just been an absolute breeze and you're just sitting there with nothing to do? Because that's what Blizzard seems to think is the case, and I disagree entirely with it.
I disagree too. I think it's only a very small percentage, like a 0.1% of people that are running like the 40 guest tank, or the where they have like a healer that's doing damage most of the dungeon because he doesn't need to heal, because the whole team is really good at staying out of stuff and kicking stuff and killing explosives and staying out of sanguine. If that's a thing, I don't even know if it is anymore. But these top players, they're the best, and they know what they're doing, and they run Mythic Plus exclusively, and they're very good at it, and so they know what to kick, they know how to cycle kicks, they know how to CC, to pull the right packs. They know what they're doing, and I feel like Blizzard's looking at them and thinking that's all of us.
Yeah, and a lot of times, especially when it comes to Mythic Plus, it feels like they tune a ton based off of MDI, and that is not the right way to do it. It's just like you don't tune based off of Race World First with the rate. You don't do it. It's not the way to do it.
And Blizzard does this too, and it's the exact same thing for PvP. They change and nerf everything that's good during the tournament, not what's being played in solo queue or in the 3v2 ladder. Now, the difference I think that is for PvP is that players, when they watch these tournaments, they see what the top players are running, and then they copy them. So I do see them nerfing it that way, because that's what that's probably the PvP community right now is. It's just flavor of the month, you know. It's
right.
You just see what top people are running, what comp they're running, and then everyone runs it. Like, for example, I know one of the best comps right now, and you see in the tournament all the time, is the Demo lock with a Ret Paladin. And as soon as people saw that, from my experience playing and watching streams, every team is Ret Demo now, I swear. Everyone just copies the top players. So I understand nerfing it that way, but yes, Blizzard does nerf off of pro play before looking at the ladder, you know. So
no. And the other thing I would say on this is, if their concern is they feel like healers don't have enough to do, then if anything, you would need to nerf self healing, especially for some classes. Certain classes don't need it touched. That's something else. That's something else Blizzard loves to do. Is they go, here's an issue that these two classes have because these two classes have too much self healing, and since these two classes have too much self healing, it gives the healers nothing to do. So we're gonna nerf every class's self healing. No, just nerf those few classes. They did it. They did that with tanks. With the 10% damage reduction to tanks, Prot Warrior needed it. Paladin probably was fine with getting it. Brewmaster Monk did not need it at all. Guardian Druid, I don't think needed it either. But they just did it across the board instead of looking at which actual classes had the issues. But again, if they do think that it is an issue of healers don't have anything to do, I disagree with it, but it makes sense that they would do this a little bit. But I think if they're looking at it from the perspective of we saw 4 DPS and no healers in Court of Stars, because it was mainly just Court of Stars, I think this change doesn't fix that issue one bit, because the reason that they ran no healer and 4 DPS in Court of Stars primarily was not because, oh, this class has so much self-healing.
Right.
I know what everyone thinks. Everyone immediately thinks, oh, Prot Pally could self-heal. One of the teams that ran it 4 DPS was a Prot Warrior. Prot Warrior doesn't have any ability to heal anyone else. The other classes have good self-healing abilities, but the real issue is not the self-healing or the amount of healing that a healer does. The real issue is that Court of Stars, almost every bit of damage in that dungeon is full-on avoidable. And that's why it worked. That is not a class issue. That's not a tuning issue. That's a dungeon mechanic issue. The way to solve that is make sure you don't have a dungeon where every bit of damage is completely avoidable. Like that's all there is to it. That was not a if Court of Stars wasn't in the dungeon pool, I don't think we would have seen any 4 DPS comps. I know that there were a couple teams that did some other. I think Halls of Valor, they tried it in. I don't know how successful they were, but I know there were a couple other dungeons. After doing it so much in Court of Stars, there were a couple other dungeons that teams tried it on. But Court of Stars is the one that got this thing going, and that's because all the damage was avoidable in there, and it is almost all the damage during the raids and stuff, or the boss fights and stuff in there. Almost all the damage is avoidable.
It's it's just stuff on the ground you gotta watch out for.
Yeah, and so that's not.
And same with the ads too. Like you could LOS like the explosion. You could you can watch out for the frontal slam thing, whatever, on that one ad. Like, it's all avoidable. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, and that to me is just poor dungeon design. And which, listen, Court of Stars had plenty of poor dungeon design to begin with the purple floors and the purple mechanics. That's just
I can't believe that we got like 4 or 5 expansions past it now, and they just changed the particle on the ground, like the way it looks. And that goes for Halls of Valor as well. On that boss, the where the orbs come out, they used to be like really weird particles, and it was kind of not the best to see, but they changed it. And that's a lot easier to see.
Right.
And they waited till Legion, like how it's been like what 4 expansions.
Yeah.
And now they changed it, but they didn't bother to change it back then. But yeah, I mean,
part of that might be part of that might just also be technology. Maybe it was easier to make that look that way now. I don't know. But yeah, no, I do think it was a little.
I don't think they had an MDI back then, did they? So like that kind of stuff didn't really stand out, because I don't think there was like
I don't remember if they had MDI in Legion. That was the first.
I don't think so.
That was the first expansion with Mythic Plus, but I don't know that they had MDI. I know BFA they did, but I don't know if they had. I don't think they had it in Legion. I don't think that they did. But no, I'm glad they do now. Again, like I felt like it is a very much just a stat buff that's not really going to change anything. I don't know. It seems pointless. We'll see. Maybe it is fine. I mean, it's going to be fine regardless, because it's not. If it doesn't change anything, then it's still fine, in my opinion. I felt like there wasn't really an issue anyway. It just felt like they're changing stuff to change stuff, because I don't know. It's something I would really like a much more in-depth explanation from Blizzard on. And there's a lot of things, they do. I will give them credit. They do a much better job of explaining changes that they're making than they did a couple expansions ago. But sometimes stuff like this, their explanation doesn't make any sense. And I would love a more in-depth explanation. Anyway.
I'll take
Yeah.
as long to. Sorry.
You
Couldn't see.
what?
So I guess talking about the changes, and kind of went through this a little bit already, but some of the tuning that was coming through was healing increased by almost everybody, right? So
Yes.
a couple things that aren't healing related, they got changed. I'll touch over. We have Frost Death Knight, Frostworm Fury cast when you use Pillar of Frost was reduced from 40% damage to 30%. And the 4 set, when Frostworm Fury causes enemies to hit, to take 25% increase in your critical strike chance, now it's 20%. So slight nerf. I'm not sure how it'll be. It's kind of fun having the Pillar of Frost summon a Frostworm Fury. I think it might still be good, but we'll see. I think Unholy might still be better with their set.
Right.
Unholy 4 set got changed, so when you consuming Sudden Doom, which is your instant Death Coil or Epidemic procs, it used to give you 2 stacks of Master of Death. Now it just grants 1 extra stack. I mean, so they're just trying to keep it so you don't get like the crazy high mastery buff every time you want it. Yes, Demon Hunter Fodder Flame was nerfed by 5%. Vengeance got some healing increase. Druid, Feral, all those classes got healing increase.
Yeah. Which the Fodder of the, I just want to touch on that real quick. Fodder of the Flame, nerfing the healing on that doesn't really make any sense to me. Like,
it's still going to heal you for like 40-45% because it drops the orb that you can pick up too that heals you as well. So
yeah,
healing's still going to be good.
Yeah, but I also like the healing from that wasn't really that much. I felt like it seems like an odd adjustment. I don't know. Um, especially when they're and notice that Havoc did not get any healing buffs at all to their self healing. The only change they made was getting nerfed. Which again, I'm not mad by that. Like, it's annoying because it's one of the things I love about Demon Hunter is the self healing, but also like Havoc Demon Hunter self healing is still ridiculously good. I'm they're one of the classes that, like, if you said we need to nerf self healing, they're one of the classes I would be. I don't like it because I am one, but I get it. Like, it needs, like, that's one that you could have nerfed without making all these other changes.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple small changes to a couple of the classes. Feral got most of its abilities increased by 2%. Lunar Inspiration, which was the Moonfire ability, dealing damage based off agility, is increased by 5%. The 2 set was adjusted a little bit. Some damage reduction to Shred, increased damage to Dreadful Bleeding Rip, and Tear Open Wounds, which is like their big AoE ability that makes them do insane damage that you might see in the MDIs when they're on Feral. It was 70, it's now 60%, so 10% nerf. Some Guardian healing stuff, Devastation got some healing buffs.
Well, it looks like they are reverting some of those Feral changes. The nerfs looks like they're reverting some of those.
Where are you seeing that?
So under the Feral notes says Feral damage is a little lower than we'd like after the shift of power away from Berserk Frenzy and the Berserk redesign and Embers of Neltharion. We're happy with the relative values of Feral builders, so we're adding a bit more to their overall damage with some extra for Lunar Inspiration. We're also reversing some of the 10.0.5 damage reduction to Rip to increase its value in single target, but reducing the value of Tear Open Wounds to keep Rip's contribution to AoE about the same. So it looks like they're trying to buff some of its single target ability. It looks like.
Yeah, that's where they struggle. Their AoE is like, it's good.
Yeah, it looks like Shred, Rake, Swipe, Brutus, Slash, and Thrash are all being increased by 2%.
Yeah.
So overall, it looks like you're getting a little bit of a buff.
2% is really not much, and I think Feral needed more. And to be honest, I think Feral's tier set was one of the worst, along with Mages. This just it's not a good tier set, and I
Hmm.
know from looking into it, because I was debating on playing it. A lot of the people I was watching or listening to or talking to were talking about how the feral talent felt like a placeholder until they came up with something better.
Right.
And unfortunately, it seems like Blizzard's bunking down on the new tier set that they've already had by increasing it or changing it a little bit. So it looks like they're gonna stick with that crappy tier set and just kind of improve it a little bit. I don't know. I really enjoy my feral. It's fun. I like the playstyle. I do agree that Terrible Moon needed a nerf because its damage was insane.
Right.
But 10% is not bad. Yeah, I still think feral will do very well in Mythic Plus.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, Guardian got healing buffs. Devastation got a couple changes to some talents. One talent in particular that was never run and might be ran now is Firestorm. Snapfire is when you use your Living Flame, you have a chance to proc a free Firestorm. It's instant cast. The damage was 40%, and now they moved it from 40 to 100%. So its AoE might be better. The only issue is it's a very small radius, and it doesn't move. So its radius has got to be like 8 to 10 yards, if that. So I'm not sure how much better that is, because a lot of the time ads aren't standing still for that long.
Right.
You know? Yeah. They got some nerfs to Scintillation, which is the Eternity Surge instant proc when you're using Disintegrate. It was reduced by 10%. The Shattering Star, which is like the one that increase your damage by 20% for like the couple like
Yes.
a little bit. They increased the cooldown from 15 to 20 seconds. Yeah, and then some healing stuff to Hunters, nerf to Survival's tier set. I don't know why.
Why not? Why
I don't
not?
get it. I don't. I know the steel target is good, but the tier set revolves around AOE. So the weakest part of their game is AOE, and the tiers what they had to help bring them up to like what other classes were doing, and they nerf it. So
Well, see
I
that
don't
that's
know.
that's the issue. Is they don't want them doing what other classes are doing. They want hundreds to the bottom.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I don't know. We've been joking about it for weeks now, but it does the nerf to what was it called? What was the ability that kept getting nerfed?
Mongoose Bite
Yes, the nerf to the mongoose bite. After looking
was
at it,
justified.
it makes a little bit of sense because its single target was literally one of the top 2 in rate. It's performing in the top 2 spots in rate, but in
Yeah.
Mythic Plus, it's performing in the bottom 4. Like, it is terrible in Mythic Plus.
Yeah.
And yeah, this seems like this is a nerf straight. Other than Kill Command, which is a single target, the Wildfire damage bonus is also being well, the bonus to the primary target is being reduced by 75%. So I guess it's still focusing on the single target damage, but
Yeah, it's interesting because the Wildfire only does the damage that you kill command the target to. So, and I tested this. You can't kill command because you can get a kill command reset when you use kill command, right?
right, okay.
So, you can't kill command, have it proc, switch targets, kill command, and then bomb and hit both for that increased damage. It only affects the most recent kill command target.
Gotcha.
So you can't spread out your kill commands for a big Wildfire bomb. It doesn't work like that. So,
Gotcha.
the single target, it's still single target, I guess, yeah, but it helps if they're AoE, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they're struggling so much in AoE, and Blizzard is just ignoring their AoE.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. You got Brewmaster healing increase, which is good for them, because it's always nice to have some heals as a tank.
Yep.
Um,
And again, that's just more balancing out with the damage increase to the enemies.
yeah, true.
Looks like
Yeah,
the only actual big buff is the Vivify,
Vivify,
but honestly, you don't use it.
92%.
Now, Vivify does get used whenever you proc the instant Vivify.
Well,
But
you
you're
can
but
you
you're
can
not
talent.
gonna sit there and cast Vivify as a tank.
Yeah, you can talent into instant Vivify in the monk tree though,
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
what I'm
like
saying. Yeah,
every
it's
10 seconds.
yep, and that's what I was saying. That one that will help with that. But yeah,
Yeah,
outside of that ability, if you're as a tank and you don't take that talent, that increasing it help because you're not gonna sit there and do a 2 second cast of Vivify as a tank. It's just not gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. I miss you for a couple small changes. Chi Cocoon provides a shield for 8% of max health was 10, so like a very small nerf. The 2-set is now as an internal cooldown, which before it could trigger again, which probably was intended to be like to begin with, but Windwalker got those healing buffs as well. The Vivify 92%.
Yep, went for them as
That's a
well.
good amount too. Yeah,
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
Windwalker, yeah. Because 92 is nothing to laugh at. That's pretty good.
Yeah, which I will say, I feel like Vivify never did much healing anyway, so I don't know how much this will actually be of an increase. Because
Yeah.
I know, like, if I use Expel Harm, which Expel Harm for Windwalker is being increased by 75%, that actually,
That's pretty good.
I actually like that just for speedrunning. That might help me with survival issues with
Yeah.
Windwalker and speedruns. That's interesting. I'm gonna need to
Yeah.
practice my Windwalker.
Yeah, then couple changes for Paladins. It's just the healing going over again.
Yep.
It's just healing increase for protection and ret. Shadow Priest got their healing increase. Rogue had their Soothing Darkness heal decreased. Elemental damage, healing increased. Obviously, they nerfed their 2-set, which was the Stormkeep every 40 seconds to 50 seconds. The 4-set, it was nerfed from 100% generation of your Maelstrom to 75%. Keeping that critical strike damage to 20 though is still the same. In enhanced, they got all ability and pet damage increased by 5%. That's good.
Seems a
Yeah, that's
little
a good
weird
change.
because I feel like Enhance was not
It's
like
one of
they
the better.
weren't they weren't performing like amazing, but they were in the top half as far as Mythic Plus goes.
The highest rated Mythic Plus player in the world is an Enhanced Shaman. Yeah, well, actually, I think he's tied with the Rogue. So, a guy I was watching last night, the Subtlety Rogue, or whatever, V-Speed, he's 3,620
Nice.
Raider IO. And he's exactly tied with the Shaman Jack. Shaman 3 is his name. They run together. That's just like, that's their team.
Right.
They play for method. So,
Right.
so Enhance is good, So
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised. Like 5% is welcome for sure, but was it needed? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they aren't performing as well as they are right now in the PTR. I don't know. Yeah, it just seems odd because I feel like I've seen Enhance performing pretty well overall.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's a cool change. Yeah, and they're
Looks like the 4-set got nerfed though.
yes, 10%. So in the channel. So like basically how it works is when you use Sundering in your 2-set, it gives you 24% mastery for like 10 seconds or something. So that's a lot. 24% mastery for enhance is like a big damage increase. And when you use Sundering, it increases your physical and fire damage dealt by what was 30% now 20% for 10 seconds. So it's still good. 20% is still a good number. And it now affects your chain lightnings is 3 instead of 3. So like what you do, you like use Sundering and you use like chain lightning, and then it had like the huge damage, the damage increase or whatever. And it used to have like 3 chain lightnings, now it's just 2. So I still think Enhance is looking to be one of the best melees next patch. I think, especially that 5% damage buff that's really good.
Right.
Warlock soul leech rate was decreased very, very small amount, 0.1%. Warrior Titanic Throw no longer affects crowd control targets. What's Titanic Throw?
So Titanic Throw basically is, I believe that is what allowed your heroic throw. It's kind of like heroic throw, but I think it hits multiple targets.
Oh, okay.
So that makes sense. That's good. That's something that I know as a tank. I hate whenever like I throw a glaive toss and it hits something that was CC'd,
Yeah.
breaks it. Um, Obviously, if you're stupid and you target the CC thing, it should break it. But if you
Yeah.
target something that's not CC'd, it should avoid that, and that's what it sounds like they're making it do, which is good.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the ignore pain absorbing 25%? Is that just buffed because of the health buff?
Yeah, that's just part of the health buff. That's all it is.
Okay. They reduce pain and gain heals to 3.5% of max health instead of 4.5.
Fine. I don't feel like
Fix it.
pain and gain does a whole lot anyway.
Yeah. And fix an issue that prevents Spear of Bastion from being cast while the warrior was silenced.
I feel like it shouldn't be cast if you're silenced, though.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know. I feel like that's not an issue, but I mean,
Yeah.
hey, whatever. I'm not gonna. Warriors aren't gonna complain.
Yeah. Arms got a small reduce heal maximum health whatever 8% was 10. Fury had invigorated Fury heals for 15% max health instead of 20, so it nerfed it a little bit. And the Fury other buff just a change. Protection. What are we looking at here? So feel by violence cause you to be healed for 110% of the damage dealt by deep wounds. Was 85. That's pretty good, eh?
Yeah, that's a decent increase. That's also still probably just part of the. Cause it's about a
The health
25%
buff.
increase. Yeah, it's just part of that.
Yeah, it's 25%.
Yep.
The tier set shield slam now reduces the cooldown last stand by 2 seconds was 1. That's the buff. 4 set duration of Earth and Tenacity increased to 20 seconds was 10, and the damage of Earth and Smash increased by 300%. That I don't know much about Prot Warriors, but that sounds pretty good. Their tier set.
Right. Yeah. Um. Shield slam. I mean, yeah, it's decent. Last stand. I don't know. I don't feel like I use it too much because all it does is a heal. I
Right.
mean, it's good for emergency situations, and obviously the higher the keys are, the more you're going to use it. But
Yeah.
to me, that seems not that great.
Right.
Um, if is last stand the heal?
Last stand's the one that increases your health.
Last stand is it heals you and increases your health. I was thinking I wasn't sure if it was shield wall for a sec because shield wall is like the big cooldown.
Yeah.
That like reduces our damage that we take by like 50% for 8 seconds or something, and that one has a lot of cooldown reduction to it. That would be a very good 2 set. I mean, this one that's fine. It's decent. Having last hand. I mean, shield slam. You're using shield slam pretty much every 5 seconds anyway.
Right.
So that's going to be a nice big cooldown reduction for last stand. The 4-set bonus duration of Earth and Tenacity increased to 20 seconds was 10 seconds. The damage of Earth and Smash increased by 300%. Honestly, I don't know what Earth and Smash is. I don't remember having. I don't remember using that.
All I know is that 300% sounds like a lot.
Yeah, that's 1 second because I'm gonna look that up because that's not something I remember using when I was playing my Prot Warrior. So I don't know if it's something new or if it's just a talent that hasn't been in use. Because it's possible that's just a talent that hasn't been in use, and they're trying to bring it up to par.
Yeah.
Earth and Smash. Now is that under? That's under specifically Prot Warrior, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Earth and Smash. I'm not even seeing it, so maybe it's a new talent?
Maybe it just comes with the tier set. Actually, no, it would have said the notes. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see Earth and Smash anywhere. Yeah, I'm not sure. That might
Yes.
maybe it's a talent change that they are making for the new patch. Maybe it's just a new talent that they put in. Because I do not see that talent ability anywhere. Let me check the calculator because it may just not be showing it to me. But anyway, go on.
Yes. So they updated some visuals and some stuff on the dungeons coming up in Freehold, Brackenhide, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's a lot to go over, so I'd just say if you're interested in reading it, go ahead and look it up. But it looks to me like for Freehold specifically, that Sky Captain Crag has like a 60-yard cone. The impact damage has been reduced, and they updated the visual to help see it better because apparently it was hard to see. They decrease some certain spells and increase some stuff that you can get from like Council of Captains, that kind of stuff. Just some changes to some of the dungeons.
So yeah, one thing that I thought that I noticed, which was interesting, was in the Halls of Infusion. They said that the Primal Tsunami boss no longer uses rogue waves. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure rogue waves was an ability that would randomly send one person. Because you know how it has like the intermission phase where everybody gets knocked back and you have to run the gauntlet individually.
Yeah.
I think Rogue Waves was something where it would randomly take one person and knock them back, make them do the gauntlet. Just them by themselves outside of the intermission.
Yeah.
So that might actually be a nice change there, I think, because that ability, Halls of Infusion itself, that whole dungeon, I'm not looking forward to for this season.
I actually looking forward to it, except for the frogs.
The frog's going to be a pain, but my biggest concern is the packs that have so many casters in it with so many crucial interrupts. I am not looking forward to that at all. Definitely not having a Vengeance Demon Hunter, I think, is going to be rough in there. You're going to need a lot of AoE stuns, AoE CCs, AoE silences. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically the changes. A couple changes like towards CC for PvP that's coming out, but so just a quick update on PvP gear for anyone that does BGs or arena and stuff like that. The blue gear, the blue quality gear you can get with Honor is now 434 item level, and the epic gear from Conquest, the rated content, is 447 item level. So it's just that's where the PvP is going to be at.
Nice.
Yeah. What else do we have? You want to take us through the Mythic Plus affix updates?
Yes. So basically, they made some changes to Afflicted and Incorporeal, which are two of the newer affixes. Just a quick recap. Afflicted is the one where I believe adds spawn, and you have to use some kind of cleanse on them, I believe.
Yeah, so right here it says, sorry to interrupt, but it says right here that the Afflicted is capped at 2 now, so you don't get more than 2 ads.
Yes. They said that there were situations where there were 5 up at a time at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, it says this allows a lot of time to relax between dealing with the waves of afflicted mobs and making it much less overwhelming. In addition, there does appear to be a 15-second internal cooldown, which means it doesn't always spawn on cooldown, which means that you can sometimes go a long period of time without having to deal with it. So yeah, it's capped at 2, and you won't have more than 1 spawn every 15 seconds. So that's
good.
That's definitely good. Incorporeal, it appears, also was capped at 2, but it said sometimes only one incorporeal would spawn, even on the largest pools. There now appears to be a 20-second internal cooldowns between spawn. But unlike Afflicted, it seems more than likely to always spawn on 20-second intervals.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not sure. Incorporeal was the one where...
You had to heal it or whatever?
It says that they periodically appear in an attempt to weaken players. I'm honestly trying to remember what that does.
I was watching some videos of people doing freehold on the PTR, and before these changes came live, the incorporeal or whatever was like so many would come up they couldn't deal with it, and then you get the debuff for like 10 seconds where you're doing like negative damage. It was toxic to say the least.
Yeah, it sounds. I think if I remember right, that's the one that constantly is casting the stuff, and so you have to CC them.
Which is the one where you had to heal them up to full? Because that's one of the affixes.
That is 1 second plus season 2. That was okay, so that's part of Afflicted. So Afflicted is you can either cleanse them or you can restore them to full health. So Afflicted is the one that does that. Incorporeal, they attempt to destabilize players with spells that reduce their damage and healing done, and they're susceptible to all forms of crowd control. So that's just one where you need to cage them, sheep them, whatever. You're going to have some kind of permanent crowd control on there, and be very careful not to break them.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how long they stay. If they're limited to 2, I assume that they go away after a certain amount of time. Yeah, and then the other new affix is Entangling, which is just you get snared by vines, and your movement speed, I think, is reduced by 30%, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that pretty much is it for now.
Yeah.
We will still have Sanguine, sadly. But I know it was nerfed. Quaking is gone. Grievous is gone. Volcanic was gone, but now they're getting rid of Explosive, and we'll have Volcanic instead.
I prefer Volcanic over Explosive.
Absolutely. Volcanic is so much easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the nice thing is Sanguine we won't deal with until you're on a plus 14 or higher. So that is a lovely thing. That is probably my favorite thing outside of Freehold that is coming up in Season 2, is not having Sanguine on low keys.
Right.
Because having Sanguine on like a plus 4, it's just so annoying because it's such an easy key, but then Sanguine makes it not.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm really glad to see that change.
Yeah, so the last Wowhead news we have is a couple small changes, development notes for 10.1 PTR, which came out today.
Yep.
About Demon Hunter changes and a couple PvP tuning. So you want to take us with the Demon Hunter since you know it more?
Yes. So yeah, the serrated glaive. What it does right now is enemies that have been hit by your glaive toss take 10% increased damage from I-beam. It looks like now it's also going to take 20% increased damage from Chaos Strike. To me, this seems like it's just it's a nice buff, but I think what the main thing is they're trying to make that talent a bit more relevant, because I don't think a whole lot of people are using that talent. Now, I think potentially that could stack well with the tier set, since the 4 set, every 175 Fury you spend increases the damage of your next I-beam by 15%. So, if you have that talent, which also increases it by another 10%, that could be pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I still don't know that's going to see much play in it, because I don't know. I personally don't care for the glaive toss build myself. That's just me. But anyway, then Accelerating Blade had its name changed to Accelerated Blade. And what Accelerating Blade, the old one, what it did was your damage increased by 20% for each target hit by your glaive toss. So I think the way it worked was the first one it hit for 20% increased damage, then the next one was 40% damage, and the next one was 60% damage. Basically what they're doing now is it seems like they're just swapping it and making it backwards. So your first target is going to take 60% increased damage. Then the next target it gets reduced by 30%, which would make it down to about 40%. And then the last target is going to be 20%. So it's overall it's the same amount of damage. I think what it's doing, in my opinion, is it's giving you more control over what target is going to take that priority damage, which is the way it should be. To me, it doesn't make sense that you should just throw it at a target and then it randomly increases at a random target, because then you can't control who gets that burst damage. Ideally, it should work the way they're changing it to where you target, this is the guy I need to kill now, hit him first, he takes the most, and then the secondary targets that you don't control take less damage. So I'm cool with those changes. It doesn't really seem like they're bad changes.
Yeah.
Then other than that, I don't know if there's anything the PvP stuff that sticks out to you. The dungeon and raid stuff pretty much just, hey, we're doing stuff in dungeons. That's about all their notes were on that. It literally just updates to many non-boss enemies and all 3 bosses in Vortex Pinnacle. Very vague. But, you know, there's lots of tuning going on with the dungeons right now. Anyway, they're doing the Mythic Plus testing, so on PTR. So they're trying to get tuning from that, and they're going to be tuning those dungeons for the first 2 months of the next season anyway. It's just how it always goes.
Yeah.
You see anything in PvP that sticks out to you at all, or?
No.
Gotcha. But yeah, that's pretty much just about it. You want to go over your weekend WoW?
A lot of time walking and a lot of dungeons we did this past week. We got almost KSM on my Invoker. I'm about 49 points away, I think.
Right, we should be able to get that for you tomorrow night, probably.
Yeah. I'm still working on figuring out classes. I'm kind of waiting till it gets closer to see final changes. But there's I have certain classes in mind. I'm just kind of waiting. So I just been playing lots of classes, time walking, getting the chest done, and I did a lot of transmog runs on some tunes as well. So yeah.
Nice. For my weekend WoW, just a lot of I think I'm done with the upgrade farming on the Forbidden Reach. I've got a ton of my characters now. I think I still have 5 characters left, but it's my mage and lock. It's all my casters that I don't care about. I think the only melee I have left would be the enhanced shaman and then my rogue, but neither one of those are even leveled up. I will probably level those up during that 50% experience buff week. But yeah, did a lot of that. Around today, farming a lot of rep and stuff, just trying to get my renown up. I think I got my renown maxed with the expedition, and I'm very close to being max renown with both the Maruk and the Valdrakken Accord. I'm 2 levels away from each of those. But yeah, then running a lot of low-level dungeons, a lot of no-coup defensive, because I'm trying to get Storm Slash for my Demon Hunter, because it's the only piece that I need, and I will have my best in slot. Except for my trinket. I have a funny story about my trinket. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, farming a lot of Valor as well, so I can upgrade all my pieces to 411 before we go into the new season, just to have the highest gear I can for that. Just doing a lot of that. As far as the trinket goes, so I think it was yesterday, after we had done some dungeons and stuff. Yesterday morning, I think it was. I noticed, hey, that trinket. I got my best in slot trinket from dungeons. I got that while we were running a Court of Stars yesterday. It dropped for me. And so it's like, cool. It's like a real low item level, like a 380 item level or something. So I'm like, cool. I still need to keep it. I'm gonna upgrade it, and then it'll be my best trinket that I got on me. And
Yeah.
so a couple hours later playing, I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and put that trinket on. And I go to my bags, trinket ain't there. And I'm like, what? And I realized my vendor sold it because it was such a low item level that it didn't consider a potential upgrade, and I didn't have it saved to any of my equipment sets. So my vendor rules are set to sell anything that doesn't meet that criteria. So yeah, I look, and sure enough, it had sold my my trinket whenever I had done the auto vendor at some point. So I go on to item restoration, of course, because Blizzard has that wonderful tool. You can get an item back once per week. And so I get it back, and I get my item restoration back, and I make sure to I get the trinket, I get it in the mail, I equip it, and I put it and save it as my tanking equipment slot. So I didn't think anything of it, because on all my characters, equipment, if it's in an equipment set, the rule in my vendor add-on is that it does not sell it if it is saved to an equipment set. So I go on, don't think anything of it. Today, I log on, and I go to try to use the trinket, because I have it on my keybind, or on my toolbar now. I go to try to use the trinket, nothing happens. I'm like, the heck? And I go, I'm like, oh, it's not equipped. Okay, I must have unequipped it, or maybe it, or I think, or maybe I was in my Havoc or something. So I was like, oh, so I'll go ahead and equip that and make sure I have it in my Havoc equipment set. So I go to my bags, and it's gone again. And I'm like, what the hell? I know I saved it. I know I saved it to my equipment set.
Yeah.
So I then look at my vendor, and I forgot that I did this at the start of the expansion when I had so much gear, and I had like 5 different equipment sets saved. I had turned off the option to keep anything that was saved to an equipment set. So it still sold it again. So now I have to wait until next Thursday to go and do another item restoration on it to get that trinket back. So yeah, because I was a little bummed on that. But yeah, note to self: if you're using vendor, definitely check your rule settings. Make sure that you're not going to lose anything important, like I did. I'll have it back again. I just have to wait a week, which is whatever. I was going to spend all my valor on upgrading it, and then I couldn't, so I was a little bummed on that. But yeah, mainly I've just been farming valor, getting ready for the expansion. Probably gonna play. Obviously gonna play Vengeance. Probably will play some Brewmaster Monk and some Prot Warrior or Prot Pally at some point during the next season. We'll see how intensely I play them, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Just got a couple more weeks. Oh, excuse me. Just got about 2 or 3 more weeks, and then I think 3 more weeks, and the season starts. 2 weeks, and then the patch comes out.
Yep.
So that'll be awesome. Yeah, we're gonna get you your Keystone Master tomorrow night. Yep. And we should only need to do like 2, maybe 3 dungeons, and you should have that.
Yeah, it should be easy.
So definitely looking forward to that. And then yeah, definitely gonna probably practice some monk speed runs during the day, maybe. I don't know, we'll see.
That'd be cool.
Yep, get used to that. Maybe you should race me during that 50% XP bonus. See how fast
The only way it'd be fair is if I had the 50% experience and you didn't.
Nah, I think it'd be interesting. But I think we'd have to do it. I
don't think so.
I think we would have to do it on different sides, though. Like, I'd do Alliance and you do Horde.
Because I would be in the same zone the whole time.
Yes, yeah, because that's an annoying thing. That's the most annoying thing with speedrunning is when you come across and there's just a bunch of people there. And they've killed all the mobs you need. It's so annoying because you're just sitting there waiting. Usually when you're speedrunning, you get past them once you finish a couple quests. You generally jump past them. But during that time, it's annoying. Especially if they've been killing all your rares. But yeah, that's pretty much it for, I think, this episode. You got anything else you want to add?
No, just looking forward to some of the podcasts coming up for the next season. We'll have lots to talk about every week, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Freehold. Looking forward to Underrot. yeah, I'm just looking forward to the next patch. There's a lot of good changes, and I think it'll be fun.
Nice. Yep, no, I agree. But yeah, no, if you have anything you'd like to share or comment on or whatever, you can chime in on. Feel free to hit up the comments or on YouTube. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to keep getting any notifications whenever we have a new podcast out. Pretty much try to get them out just about every week. If you have any other comments as well, if you're listening on iTunes or not iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called now, or Amazon Music or Spotify. I don't know if Spotify has a comment thing. I know, Apple does.
It does.
But yeah, if you have comments in there, whatever, you can always let us know on there. Make sure to subscribe on the audio channels as well. Anyway, if you want to contact us directly or whatever, my socials up there. I've got I'm at twitch.tv/Buckblind. YouTube is Buckblind the Demon Hunter, and Twitter is @BuckblindDH. Bio, what are yours?
My Twitch and YouTube at QQ_Bioshock. I stream more now.
Yep.
Maybe not with my computer freezing. But YouTube, I kind of decided I'm going to put off making content until next season. When I have a definitive class, I'm going to start off playing, so we'll see.
Right. And if anyone's listening and you want to help Bio get a new computer that can handle everything and stop
Buddy,
skipping.
the computer I have is actually really good.
I mean, if it's freezing on you, I don't know if it's freezing.
Never done this before.
Yeah, and never say never.
Maybe I'll get a new one at some point.
Yeah, we'll see. You might just need to replace RAM sticks or something. I don't know. Could be a graphics card issue. We'll look at your specs some point in time, and I'll tell you. I'll look and see if there's anything maybe that'd be worth swapping out or something. Yeah. But
right.
I think it's gonna do it. Been a little bit longer podcast than we have been because we had quite a few things to talk about this time.
Yeah.
But no, appreciate everyone watching, and y'all have a great one. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.